Well, good day, everyone. Well, it's been a little bit of a while. I know that we spoke, I think it's about 2 weeks ago. Um, I'm going to be very quick today. I want to share about one thing that is one of the sensitive things. When it comes to marriage, I believe there are three main sensitive areas. The first one is communication. The second one is sex, and then the third one is finances. And if you can look at your relationship on things that you have fought about, you have argued about with your partner, and you might agree with me that if you can narrow it down, you'll find out that most of them, they are linked to one of these three things. So today I just want to share briefly about few things around what I call financial intimacy. Because if we have sexual intimacy and we have communication intimacy, there should be financial intimacy. So when we talk, let's say, communication intimacy, we talk about when couples are at a stage where they can be able to communicate freely and to share pretty much anything with each other. And when we talk sexual intimacy, we talk about people that are comfortable with their sexuality, with their bodies, with each other, and so forth. So when we talk now financial intimacy, we're definitely talking about the compatibility that a couple should have around financial matters. Now, I will be running a seminar, I think around April, but you can look at my Facebook page, Marriage Affairs with Pastor X, on some of the events that I'll be having, but I'll be running specifically a financial seminar within marriage, or even if you are still courting and planning to get married, how to manage and to run your finances. All right, so you'd find that the financial tension that would be between a couple, it will spill over to the other areas. It's going to affect their communication, it's going to affect how they relate with each other, even socially, it's going to affect the relationship with in-laws, the relationship with the children, and everything else gets affected. Because sometimes, to a certain extent, especially to some couples who have made money to be the center of their relationship or their marriage, and then it becomes even more intense when it gets to that stage. So the intimacy that you need to have, it's an intimacy that will allow you guys as a couple, first of all, to pray and ask God for guidance and wisdom when it comes to financial management. Now, you are two people who are coming from different backgrounds, who have been exposed to using money in different ways and to even acquire money in different ways, legal and illegal ways, and so forth. Others are savers, others are spenders, and then others are just on the borderline. They spend reasonably and they save reasonably. But you find other couples, one is an extreme of the other. And then it becomes a bit of a problem. So you need to really acknowledge that God does give guidance when it comes to money. And he says, silver and gold is mine. So if silver and gold is his, definitely he would know a thing or two, or even more, about finances and how to manage and handle your finances. All right? So that is the first thing that you need to be able to do as a couple, and you do it together. But over and above that, you need to be a team. You need to be partners when it comes to this. Other people, they want to be partners in bed only, but they make unilateral decisions. They don't communicate, but also they make decisions, assumptions, expectations on their own when it comes to finances. It becomes a problem. So the partnership doesn't end only when you open the bedroom door and you're coming out of the other rooms and to the rest of the world that you live in. Your intimacy continues even beyond that. In terms of finances, you become partners. Now, when you are partners, imagine this, running a business together. There are things that you have to co-sign with your partner. There are things that you cannot just do on your own without consulting with your partner. And sometimes you may not agree all the time, but at least You have consulted and you have deliberated on it. And then also partners, one thing about them, they share responsibilities. They split the responsibilities between the two of them. So you need to be partners when it comes to your finances. You need to be as honest and transparent as possible. If you are partners, in order for the partnership to work, there has to be transparency. No transparency, that partnership is going down. No honesty, that partnership is going down. The minute selfishness starts kicking in, that partnership is going down. The minute in a partnership you start thinking about your side of the family and you become, blind to the other side of the family, that partnership is going down. So you need to be partners in whatever that you are doing. And then the other thing that most couples have picked up, with the sessions that I do, is that people don't set goals. People don't set goals, and they don't even attach costs to the goals when they do set them. So I always ask myself, how do you function without having any goals? Because the goals that you set, you'll have, short-term goals, medium-term, and long-term goals. Those are the things that will need you to attach a rand and a cent to it in order to fulfill it. So other couples, they are spontaneous. And I'm not saying don't be spontaneous. It's okay to be spontaneous. It gives that vavavoom to the marriage and the relationship. But you need to understand, for instance, if you've got 100 rands, you can be spontaneous. Out of that 100 rands, let's say 40 bucks, I'm sucking. 40 bucks, you can be spontaneous, but the 60 rands, it needs to be planned for. It needs to be budgeted for. You need to understand what you are working towards. If you are saving towards what, So you need to set goals, and those goals need to be realistic. It needs to be goals that are benefiting everyone in the family, meaning you, your partner, and your kids. And then you can look also to the extended families. And then you need also to combine your finances, because most couples, their downfall is that mine is mine, yours is yours. Others, mine is mine, yours is ours. It's a problem. So if we go back to the second point, or the first point that I mentioned, that you need to be transparent and honest. Now, you cannot have this is mine, this is hers, this is his, if you are transparent and honest to each other. So you need to combine, and I'm not talking necessarily have the same bank account. You can have different bank accounts, but both of you should have equal access, equal right to that bank account. You have to have full knowledge. I get that, chills when I'm sitting with couples and I ask, do you know what your partner is earning? And the answer is no. And I'm like, how do you even function in that house? How do you even open your legs and sleep with this person? How do you even, do the things that you do with this person for years? Not knowing a simple thing as a payslip or a bank statement. It means just there's a problem there and it's rooted down. So you need to combine finances, and you can be able to run your finances from the same pot, or from, a collective, as opposed to individuals. It makes even planning the goals to be better, because you have a holistic picture. You know what you have, and you know your limitations, and you know what you can afford. All right? And then the other one, you need to be able to share responsibilities fairly and equally. Now, what that does is, for instance, if there are 10 things that needs to be paid on a monthly basis, all right, and there are 2 things that needs to be managed, for instance, things like bread, milk, those are, the perishable stuff. You buy them, probably on a daily basis, depending on the size of the family or the consumption thereof. So you split those equally. You will never be equally strong when it comes to managing finances. Remember, your backgrounds, your knowledge, and everything else, could be to your advantage or disadvantage. But you can't now sit and say, my wife or my husband is bad with finances, so they're not going to touch money. You need to be able to empower each other. So when you share responsibilities, it's easy now to teach each other on how to be both responsible, because it will become a burden now when one is pulling that way and then the other one is bad when it comes to finances. So it is important that you share responsibilities. And then in that sharing of responsibilities, it means that you will have to sit down and do the budget together. Some families, the budget is in a piece of paper, and then is calling out of nowhere. There's a piece of paper out of nowhere, it disappeared, and all of a sudden now the money comes in. By the time the money comes in, and then we have no trace of what we had discussed and agreed. It needs to be structured. If you've got a computer, you put it there. If not, you need to buy a file where you can be able to monitor and say, last month, this is what we spent. This month, this is what we spent. Next month, we can forecast and project to spend this much on this line item. And this credit card by this time, in 3 months' time, is going to be paid off. It makes it much easier. But both of you, you know what you are working towards. You have a common goal. You budget together. You are honest. You are transparent. Okay? And work on moving any financial pressure that you may have. You might find that you're not earning the same and you don't have the same jobs and so forth. And also there are certain pressures from extended families that they put on us. Sit down with your partner. Talk about it. It's all about intimacy. Talk about it. Talk about your frustrations. Talk about, the weaknesses that your partner has, the weaknesses that you have, and how can those be improved and how they are affecting your finances and the well-being of the family. You talk about it, up front, before it gets to be a problem and now you have to be managing it. And, in that talking about it, decide and agree on what small debts you can be able to get out of the way. I know there's this rule of saying focus on the bigger ones, and then no. The bigger ones, for instance, if I've got a bond of 900,000 and I've got a personal loan of 70,000, unless I win Lotto, that 232 million, Lord, I could do so much with that. But if you don't have that, then work towards the smaller one. You get out of the way, that 2,000 rands you were paying for that 70,000, and then you can be able to add it onto your other smaller debt, and half of it maybe goes towards your bond. Trust me, it will make a huge difference. And then you need to be able to agree with your partner on some guidelines, policies, things that are non-negotiables in your family. It doesn't matter. These are normally based on your belief systems. These are normally based on your conviction as a person, as an individual. You share this with your partner. Let them see where you're coming from with it. For instance, I might have a standpoint of saying, doesn't matter how bad things are. In this family, we pay tithe. All right? Or in this family, we're not paying tithe, and then we're going to take our 10% and then we distribute it to a worthy cause. Either way, it's something that you need to agree on based on your religious beliefs, based on your convictions, based on your culture, and so forth. We're saying we cannot go beyond this much for black tax, for an example, unless obviously it's emergency and so forth. So you need to agree on that and say also, this is how much one person between the two of us can spend on their own without consulting the other one. So that you don't find surprises here. A person has bought an X6 and you guys, you live in an i20 house. And then the next thing you've got now, this i6. And then the last thing that I want to just to mention is that if things are not okay, forget about what people will say. If it means you have to downgrade, let it be. Because people will never help you. People will never help you when now they come and confiscate everything, when they come, repossess things, and so forth. If it means downgrading the car, if it means downgrading the lifestyle, if it means downgrading even the house that you have, because there are other options, for instance, with the house. You can leave your 15,000 bond and rent it out, go and find a 6.5, rental place while you are settling and adjusting into what you are doing. So never be afraid to downgrade. I promise you, it's better for you to downgrade on your own than being downgraded by circumstances and everything else that comes with it. That's Pastor X for you. I hope you learned something out of this. Make sure to click at the bottom there, that button that says subscribe, so that you can be able to get notifications when we have other and more of this. And then you can also follow me on Instagram and also on Facebook, Marriage Affairs with Pastor X. God bless you and speak to you soon.